anybody have an objection to this one? Okay, that's a yes. Lake Almanor Watershed Group, Water Quality Monitoring Program for Lake Almanor and its tributaries. That's interesting.
I think it's particularly interesting, isn't it, given that the state now monitors and does all the testing except for the bio?
No, we still provide the major part of it. DWR is partners with the people that we contract to monitor and do the analysis, but they're not, we're partners, but there's not a lot of funds being donated by DWR to do this.
No,
We just got
but they have
money.
boots on the ground.
Yes, they're acting, if you know.
At the moment.
They will indefinitely. That's their source of water. Anyway, but it's eligible.
Yeah, so, yeah, what we've done is we get private contributions, and we've been doing minimum monitoring over the years, but it's getting to where we have, getting some large green algae showing up in the lake, and so we need to increase our monitoring. We're installing 2 new gauges that give temperature and oxygen at the same location, but that's come out of private donations, so.
Does the country club still contributes that?
Yes, Country Club and West Shore, and then there are some private parties that do make small contributions, but nothing to do the kind of monitoring that we need to do to sustain the health of the lake and find out. We're also going up tributaries, so this would include.
But that is also DWR.
They're providing the labor, a lot of it.
And the techno, I mean, I get the reports,
Yeah,
so
right.
I do know it's
Yeah.
not McReynolds
Yeah.
for everybody's information,
He's on log.
Is-
He's a member of log.
but that's DWR.
Right.
And in addition to that, if we ever get the FERC licensing, the county's on the hook for $20,000, and so is PG&E. And I think that qualifies, but it does bring me to something that, Uma, if you would make a note of this for our next meeting, I'd like to talk a little bit about, is as people develop these projects, I think it's really important that we know what other funding they are using, or if they're already doing something, that in the case like this is what brings this to mind, is there's already a funding stream in place and other things that are accomplishing it. So I think as we start ranking projects, it's going to be really important to look at, can the project come up with a match if it's required, number one, and number two, if they have adequate funding, maybe they don't rank as high as somebody that has no funding.
Well, and
That's for a future discussion, but I just think it would be important to know what other money is flowing into that particular project.
it does seem odd to me that DWR is doing some, if I understand it, DWR is doing some monitoring now.
Mhm.
DWR is also the receiver of the water at Lake Organ. It's DWR's responsibility, and they did do the monitoring, drop the monitoring for a period of time, and were invited back.
But
Well, one of the things not on your sheet too is that the MOU on this is Sierra Institute.
we would effectively, I mean, should there be some grant funding available here, it would be grant funding from DWR to fund DWR operations.
No, what it would do is it would fund,
Sierra Institute.
because we're not paying DWR, so there's no funding involved. What it would do is it would fund additional testing that we don't do now because we don't have the money to do it.
Oh.
We went through a project period of time where we identified indicators because the money dried up. So we said instead of the extensive monitoring we had been doing, we would look at indicators, and if any of those started going south, then we would know we needed to look deeper into that aspect of it. So this would probably fund some of that looking deeper. And as Carl just said, we're seeing blue-green algae blooms, which is probably a function of the warming of the water and all, but there'll probably be some future
It's
testing.
also nutrients coming into the lake from, we're starting to think some of it's coming in some of the tributaries too.
I'm sure it is.
Initial monitoring.
Certainly
Anyway.
out of Mountain Meadows.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna say it.
But for right now, it qualifies.
Yes, that would.
And I think it would be good with these, Carl in particular, that the signatory of the MOU is Sierra Institute, that be indicated somewhere on here.
Yeah,
Because-
somewhere it got missed.
Yeah, because it looks like, say, log under this one, but it's actually Sierra Institute that is the signatory of the MOU. Log is a subcommittee of
Yeah, when
Sierra.
they signed off on it.
Carl did email me over the weekend and I missed putting it into the spreadsheet.
So we need to be sure we get that in here, so we know who it is we're signed up with. Okay, so we got the monitoring. Now brings us to Lake Almanor Basin wastewater management plan.
And this is under Sierra Institute.
No,
yeah,
my is custodian.
It's my deal.
So MIDU is the signatory on the MOU?
And it's to develop an integrated basin-wide solid waste and wastewater management system for the Lake Almanor area. They estimate $135,000 and it would be study and implementation.
Implementation of a wastewater management system at 135.
I don't think it would be
No,
implementation.
this is phase
That
one.
must be
This
study.
is just for the
This
study.
is study.
This has been an ongoing problem that Sherry's very well
Yeah.
aware of.
Yeah, but that would be study, not
That's just the study,
implementation.
right?
Yeah.
There was phase two in the, which would depend on phase one.
Right.
So, we want to be sure to mark off implementation, because I see big problems with implementation,
Sure. Okay.
big problems.
Huge problem, as we're well aware of.
Hope I don't live long enough to have to work on that.
So the reason why, and the reason why is because it's not listed as a municipal services, that's why?
it, Yeah, well, that, and
Because
the other
it
thing
incurs
is,
a whole bunch of, crosses
Well,
over everybody.
everybody's jurisdiction.
Gotcha.
We have all these community services
Gotcha.
districts that are charged with.
So that's why it's in here,
Yes,
in this section as opposed to the municipal section.
I guess, I personally think.
Well, we're not even, who's incorporated over there?
It isn't, it
No.
isn't incorporation, it's the
We're the
community.
frontier.
Yeah, it's the community services district
Yeah.
that are impacted.
Yeah.
And then solid waste is a county function.
Yeah.
So that's the other piece of it, so.
Would it be more appropriate to put it in the municipal services?
I think so.
I think so.
I think so, I think we should go to municipal services.
Yeah, I was
'cause
surprised.
That's the impact of it.
You know, it's kind of, I don't even know what I'm saying, but then all these smart people say what I'm saying, and it makes me look so much smarter than I actually am. Thank you, Sherry. Because I was gonna, thank you. You did that, it's the
I
second time
did
you've done that
something
today.
right? Oh
Yeah.
my
No, you did too, you did the same thing
Two,
earlier.
oh God, I'm scared to go home
Yeah.
now. Okay, so I think that's a yes for the study and move it under municipal services if everybody agrees. Okay. Mountain Meadows Conservancy Wildlife Enhancement Project.
They are a signatory. They have already developed a concept with the private landowners in the area to create an educational scenic overlook along Highway 36 east of Westwood. Bless you. The project entails construction of 6 interpretive panels, a walking path, 2 benches, and 2 picnic tables. The site is owned by a project partner, and there are excellent wildlife viewing opportunities at the location, as well as scenic vistas. They estimate $40,000, and it would be designed, permitting, and construction.
I'm curious where the location's gonna be.
I can tell you that.
Okay?
If you drive towards Susandale from Westwood, where the old chimney is.
Yeah, that's, I'm wondering if it was the
that's
chimney
it. That's
location.
the spot, yeah.
Just at the head of the meadow.
Good,
Yeah.
super, thank you. Okay, anybody have an objection? Okay, that's a yes. Mountain Meadows Conservancy, Ham Branch Watershed Fencing Restoration, I'm familiar with that one.
This is restoration of meadows, wetlands, shoreline, and riparian habitat in the basin, which will improve water quality, irrigation efficiency, and watershed function. And it includes improved waterfowl nesting habitat at Mountain Meadows Reservoir, as well as fish habitat. They have not developed a budget yet. It would be survey design and implementation.
Okay, anybody have an objection to that one?
Out of curiosity, is PG&E still involved in that?
PG&E still owns the reservoir, and it's not going to be transferred to anyone else. There's a conservation easement being talked about, and Feather River Land Trust is negotiating to get the conservation easement there.
Is that area leased out to a rancher or any kind of grazing operations?
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
there's a big parcel that's owned by PG&E, and the neighboring parcels are owned by SPI or various Walker family trusts. And there's a huge number of cattle that are run in that meadow and stuff.
Would this be in that same area where the cattle are running? I mean, right now where the lease,
We have a watershed working group, and we're trying to work together with the landowners to do these projects on their property.
Okay.
And my question would be, being as how I was involved in discussions
well,
with
no.
PG&E on the fencing, was my understanding that PG&E was gonna do some of that fencing, or at least pay for it.
Well, PG&E is willing to let us maintain the fencing if it doesn't cost them a dime, and that's where it stands.
Okay. Anybody have an objection to that one?
No.
That's a
My-
yes?
My concern is that it's eligible, it should be just addressed, that should be addressed in your plan.
Right.
Yeah.
As part of the people that could be,
That could contribute.
yeah,
Part two.
there could be some issues with people that have that permit or grazing there, and I'm sure at phase 2, you could make sure you address that.
Right.
Okay, NRCS, Watershed Monitoring Program.
They are a signatory. This is the continual watershed monitoring in the Upper Feather River watershed to demonstrate long-term trends in stream flow and water quality resulting from cumulatively from restoration activities, land management changes, and natural processes. They estimate 40,000, and this would be continuation of an existing program.
Any questions or discussion on this one?
This is another one of those that comes to mind, is whether there's alternative funding that's been provided prior to.
Yeah, so that'll get discussed and fleshed out in the future. For now, it appears to qualify. No objections? Yes? Pumas County Flood Control District, Upper Feather River Region, LiDAR mapping. I seem to remember somebody mentioning LiDAR mapping.
Hey,
So this is a proposal to provide LiDAR mapping of the Upper Feather River region to support implementation of the IRWM resource management projects. So it would support, basically provide support to all of these projects. And I don't know, Zeke, do you want to add a little more?
yeah. I developed this proposal talking to Randy with the county as a potential partner, also the Forest Service, and potentially some private landowners. And I'll have some example images of, we've been working low, there's some, LiDAR's already been done, it's laser terrain scanning. It's already been done on the Story Fire, the Moonlight Fire, Meadow Valley, and along the East Walker Fault through Mohawk Valley. So the examples that I have in my proposal are from the USGS LiDAR from the east part of the county. And it's just this really highly detailed.
I understand, I think that would be a really valuable tool, but how much? There's no approximate budget. Do you have any idea what we're talking about?
No, I don't. But I think I've heard $1 an acre as a rough cost.
So that'll need to be developed in the more
Definitely,
developed
yeah,
proposal.
definitely.
Anybody have a,
Is everybody in here familiar with what LiDAR is?
I was kind of ready to ask that question, being an electronic engineer.
I've got some images. I thought I could throw them up during lunch break. I've got a couple images from it's Plymouth Eureka community, just to show you a couple of the ways that we use it to look at
What is it standing for?
laser imaging, ranging, and detection.
Laser with LI?
It shows the fuel loading and the topo.
it's laser imaging,
Watersheds.
LI.
It's light detection and ranging.
Then why isn't I capitalized?
Just to
Carl?
make you upset.
I'll shut up.
Go back to sleep.
Go back to sleep.
Okay, so we've got that, and that's a yes. Plymouth County Public Works, Spanish Creek Restoration. Implement Spanish Creek Watershed Rehabilitation Strategy in the American Valley.
This was submitted by the Public Works along with all of the roadway projects. We decided to put it here, but you might look at whether it should be in municipal with the others or in this one. They estimate $1 million and it would be permitting through construction.
Any identification of like what? I guess that comes in phase 2, so.
They had some discussion about it. It's based on an assessment of the Spanish Creek watershed that was completed in 2006. The project goals include a stable, healthy channelway that is neither aggrading or degrading, a community with the capacity to collaborate and implement sound stream rehabilitation and watershed management practices, and a gravel management program that promotes a properly functioning stream and riparian system.
I think it sounds like it belongs under floodplain meadows and water bodies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a municipal thing.
That has to do with gravel removal at the head of the American Valley there.
Okay, anybody have an objection? That's a yes. Plymouth Unified School District Watershed Education. This is a fantastic program.
So they are signatory, it's to continue their water course program, the Plymouth to the Pacific, and which connects youth to their watershed and importance in the state of California as the headwaters of the State Water Project. They're estimating $48,000, and again, it's continuation of the existing program.
Okay, everybody's familiar with that
Yeah,
program,
that's
I'm sure.
my kids, grandkids.
That's also a slam dunk on the grant list.
Yeah. So that's a yes. Okay. Sierra Institute Lake Almanor Basin Stewardship and Outreach Program.
So Sierra Institute is a signatory. This is to raise watershed awareness in the Lake Almanor Basin through comprehensive outreach and education and the development of educational material. This is a $75,000 for 2 years and is planning, organization, and implementation.
Is that 75,000 for 2 years or 75,000?
For 2
Each
years.
year.
We'll cover 2 years.
Anybody have a objection? Okay, that's a yes. Sierra Institute Log, Lake Almanor Watershed Group, Lake Almanor Basin Water Quality Improvement Plan.
This is to develop a comprehensive program to define and minimize the impacts of erosion, sedimentation, and contaminated runoff from either upstream sources or from urban runoff, especially stormwater, from roads, golf courses, lawns, and other surfaces around homes and developed areas surrounding the lake. They've estimated $1.75 million over 5 years, and is planning through implementation.
Seems to me like that one could be combined with one of the previous ones, which was...
Wastewater restoration.
Yeah. What do you think? People think that needs to be combined?
Kind of like up to them.
Well, I mean, we're recommending.
Yeah,
Or we separated them because.
they're running their horses, they might have a loser there.
We separated it because of the
Slice.
massive of this project. But he did.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll leave
Russ
it.
is teaching.
I got it.
Okay. What do you got?
Well, what they're talking about, I don't know, yeah, I got horses, you know, I got a lot of those.
Oh, man, this is degenerating. You only got 10 more minutes to
Yeah, we're
lunch.
just trying to, tread water until lunch.
Yeah, so that definitely qualifies, I guess, that's a yes.
So was there a recommendation to integrate it or to leave it as is?
I prefer you leave them separate.
Okay, we'll leave them
They're a
separate.
massive amount of programs, so.
Okay. What is SWHCF?
Sierra Wildlife Habitat and Community Foundation.
How you been, Jerry?
Geez.
This is to restore Little Last Chance Lake in Sierra Valley to a year-round water supply for wildlife and native vegetation, and to provide drinking water for wildlife and livestock. They are signatory to the MOU, and it would be studied through implementation.
Okay, looks to me like it qualifies on a number of different levels. Any objection? Okay. Sierra Valley Resource Conservation District, Sierra Valley Meadow Assessment.
This is to develop a Sierra Valley Meadow Assessment and management recommendations, and it would be study and implementation.
Any objection? Okay, that's a yes. Tahoe National Forest. That's interesting. Restoration of 50 acres of wetlands in our riparian meadows.
Where's the Fulton, meadows at?
The one we walked up and looked at. The one we walked up and looked at.
Oh, okay, okay. That's the Fulton meadows.
Yeah. In Carmen Valley, yeah.
Yeah, that's behind.
That's common.
Long walk.
Yeah, it was a good walk.
Okay,
Phase 2 of the Carmen Creek restoration.
okay, any objection? Okay. Trout Unlimited. I'm liking seeing the variety of project proponents too.
Yeah.
Fish habitat assessment, restoration, public awareness, and education.
So this would be implementation of projects that have been identified in the basin-wide assessment, including, but not limited to, public awareness, education, and evaluation of debris dams. They are a signatory, both at the local chapter level and also at the state level. And this would be study and implementation.
Any objection? That's a yes. Trout Unlimited Ecosystem Sciences Foundation Partnership. Fish distribution modeling in relation to climate change.
So this is to study, to develop a distribution model and to implement it. And it would be studying the distribution, the change in distribution of fish through the watershed based on the climate change predictions. They're estimating 125,000.
Okay, any objection? Upper Feather River Watershed Group, Agricultural Water Quality Study, Education and Outreach.
There's a no into the MOU, doesn't that just like chuck it?
That's it. Unless Uma's got some update where they signed it.
We didn't sign an MOU, the Upper Feather River watershed?
I did not receive one.
Okay, so that's a no for now.
So if they identify if they get this feedback and say, we have a sponsor, is that still a no at this point because it wasn't submitted with this, or is it if that sponsor is a signatory to the MOU?
For right now, it's a no. And if you want to put that on the agenda for the next meeting where we can discuss it, so everybody knows we're discussing it.
Well, and everybody would have to have that opportunity.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's why we have to discuss it, because
Yeah.
we set parameters and everybody busted themselves to get stuff done.
So if something's gonna change, everybody's gotta.
And in fairness,
Who's the chair of that organization?
Oh, let's not go there.
okay, so
The chair's
what,
could have just lost $500,000, but we won't. Maybe it won't be the chair anymore. Maybe they'll fire the chair.
you should be so lucky. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, as I
You're out of
said
town.
before,
Yeah.
we're going to take half an hour, 12 to 12:30, for everybody to go potty, make your phone calls, smoke your cigarettes and cigars, and gather up a sandwich and chips. And in the ice chest here are all kinds of soft drinks and water. And we're going to start back again at 12:30.
But now that traffic.
Even though I realize most of you will probably still be eating, I think we can eat and do this. So be back here by 12:30, and all the food's over